Hey guys, today we're going to be taking a look at and installing the Corsa Pro5 closed box cold air intake for 2011 to 2014 GT Mustang. This is a no tune required cold air intake, so it's going to be a great option for those of you out there who aren't quite ready for a tune yet. This intake is all about decreasing the restrictions that the stock airbox places on the car and improving airflow. It has a closed airbox design and it maintains the cold air feed from the grill of the car. It cost about $330, and I'm going to call the install a 1 out of 3 wrenches in the difficulty meter. It should take you about an hour to get on your car, and of course, we'll show you how to install it now. For this install, we used a 3/8 drive cordless impact gun, a Phillips head screwdriver, an 8mm socket, a small extension, and a 10mm socket. Alright guys, so first we have to get our factory intake uninstalled. So first thing we'll do is obviously pop our hood, and I have an 8mm socket on here. I like removing the cold air intake all as one piece, so I'm going to remove this all as one piece, airbox included. I'm going to start by loosening our clamp right at the throttle body. Now we'll disconnect all of the connections on our intake tube. So we've eliminated our sound tube, so we only have these two right here. Go ahead, pull this breather hose right off, and then we'll also disconnect the PCV. Now we'll disconnect the electrical connection at our mass airflow sensor. Keep in mind that there is a red locking tab on the bottom of this sensor. So you'll reach around, pull the red tab out, and then disconnect the connection. The last thing we have to do is unbolt our airbox. It's going to be this 10mm bolt right here. Alright, so now what we're going to do is remove everything. So I'm going to wiggle our intake tube off of the throttle body, and I'll remove the entire airbox. So before we get our Corsa intake installed, let's take a second and take a look at the factory intake on the table compared to the Corsa intake. So a couple things that I wanted to mention about the Corsa intake. This is all about low restriction and increasing volume, which are two very good things. The other thing is that this is a closed airbox design, meaning that your air filter lives inside this airbox. It's not going to be open to the elements or the heat underneath the hood. The airbox also maintains the direct cold air feed from the grill of the car. These are two very good qualities, especially when it comes to performance. So your airbox also minimizes sound too, because a lot of times you get some additional sound when you switch over to a cold air intake. It minimizes sound because your lid, which is right here, has a neoprene backing on it. Your air filter is also a little bit different than the air filter that comes in the factory intake. The air filter in the factory intake is a flat paper filter. This air filter is made of synthetic material, and it's also reusable, which means that when the time comes, all you have to do is clean it, re-oil it, and then you can reinstall it. Of course, the Corsa is going to come with everything that you need to complete the install. Before we get this installed on the car, we do have a couple things we have to swap over, mainly our mass airflow sensor. So let's go ahead and do that now. So we're going to use a Phillips head screwdriver to remove our mass airflow sensor from our intake tube. You guys may have T20 torque spit hardware in yours. This is just what we have in ours. And then we did get new hardware from Corsa, so we're not going to reuse this hardware. So we'll pull our sensor out and then transfer it over. So now we're going to transfer our sensor over into our new intake tube. Corsa does give you this little gasket. You're going to want to make sure that you have that installed in the correct orientation. So we're just going to slide it over our sensor here, and then we'll install the sensor in the tube and bolt it down using our new hardware. So we're going to keep our Phillips head screwdriver. It can be a little bit tough since these are short, but you're just going to make sure that you have everything lined up and then tighten them down. Alright, so now we're going to install our air filter onto the adapter inside of our airbox, and you'll need an 8mm socket to tighten the clamp. So we'll make sure that our air filter is completely around our adapter here and seated flush. And we'll go ahead and tighten our clamp. Alright, now we'll grab the lid and the supplied hardware. You'll need a Phillips head screwdriver for these. We'll go ahead and install the lid. Next, we'll grab our larger coupler, get 2 clamps on it, and go ahead and slide that over the adapter on our airbox. From here, we can tighten the clamp on the airbox side, and we'll leave this clamp loose for when we go to install our intake tube. And these are 8mm once again. All right, now we're gonna install our inlet tube into this coupler, but first we're gonna put a clamp on it. But we're gonna leave it kind of loose so that we can adjust the tube once we get it in the car. All right, now we're gonna grab our other coupler with the remaining 2 clamps, slide that over the throttle body. And then we can tighten the clamp at the throttle body. All right, now we can get our intake into place. So it's gonna sit like this, and we do need to make the connection down here with the cold air feed. So we'll make sure that's in place. And then this is why we left our clamp loose here on our intake tube. We can rotate that down and get that in the coupler of the throttle body. From there, we can go ahead and tighten our clamp up here. All right, so now we'll just make our connections on the intake tube. And I will say that we eliminated our sound tube on our stock intake, so all we did was transfer over our cap from the stock intake to our new intake. If you guys still have the sound tube, all you'll do is plug in your tube. All right, so our mass airflow sensor is located on the other side of our tube, but we have enough wire to still make the connection. So we'll loop our wire around, plug in our sensor, and then make sure we press the locking tab here. All right, now I'll tighten our last clamp here on the intake tube, and that'll be all it takes. All right, guys, that's gonna wrap up this review and install. Keep in mind, you can always check this cold air intake out more online right here at AmericanMuscle.com.